Hi guys, English Reading 100 Days Challenge. Today is day 60 and here we have Ricky.
Hi everyone.
And today we're gonna read Excellent Sheep. And on page 7, we start with chapter 1, The Students. And I will handle it to Ricky.
Yeah. Super people. The writer James Atlas has called them the stereotypical ultra high achieving elite college students of today. A double major, a sport, a musical instrument, a couple of foreign languages, service work in distant corners of the globe, a few hobbies thrown in for good measure. They have mastered them all, and with an apparent effortlessness, a serene self-assurance that leaves adults and peers alike in awe. Today's elite students, says David Brooks, project a remarkable level of comfort, confidence, and competence. In Jonathan Franzen's novel Freedom, the kids at a prestigious liberal prestigious liberal art college seemed cheerfully competent at everything.
Such is our image of these inviolable youngsters, who appear to be the winners in the race we have made of childhood. But the reality, as I have witnessed it among my former students, heard about it from the hundreds of young people who have written to me over the last few years, or whom I have met on campuses across the country, and read about it in places where these kids confide their feelings, is something very different. Look beneath the facade of affable confidence and seamless well adjustment of today's elite students have learned to project. And what we often find are toxic levels of fear, anxiety, and depression, of emptiness, and aimlessness and isolation. We all know about the stressed out, overpressured high school student. Why do we assume that things get better once she gets to college?
The evidence says they do not. A large-scale survey of college freshmen recently found that self-reports of emotional well-being have fallen to their lowest level in the 25-year history of the study. In another recent survey, summarized by the American Psychological Association under the headline "The Crisis on Campus," nearly half of college students reported feelings of hopelessness, while almost a third spoke of feeling so depressed that it was difficult to function during the past 12 months. College counseling services are being overwhelmed. Utilization rates have been climbing since the mid-1990s, and among the students who show up, the portion with severe psychological problems has nearly tripled to almost half. Converting a task force on students' mental health in 2006, Stanford's provost wrote that increasingly we are seeing students we are seeing students struggling with mental health concerns ranging from self-esteem issues and developmental disorders to depression.
Self-esteem.
Okay. 我要从何读起 We are seeing students struggling with mental health concerns, ranging from self-esteem issues and developmental disorders to depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-mutilation behaviors.
Mutilation.
这个
Self-mutilation.
这个
Schizophrenia. It's just a vida.
whatever, and suicidal behavior.
Societal.
Suicidal behavior. As the college president wrote me, we appear to have an epidemic of depression among younger people.
If anything, the already dire solution in high school deteriorates further in college, as students suddenly find themselves on their own, trying to negotiate an overwhelmingly new environment and responsible for making decisions about their future that their childhood had left them unequipped to handle. An increasingly number coped by going on antidepressants or anti-anxieties, not to mention relying on stimulants like Adderall to help them handle the pressure. Others by taking leaves of absence, or at least by dreaming about it. If the wheels are going to come off, a Pomona student had put it, it's going to be in college.
I have heard about this kind of misery again and again from a graduate instructor at Princeton. I just had an undergrad thesis student faint in my office the other day.
Faint.
Student faint in my office the other day because she was feeling so much pressure from her academic life, from someone who was in the process of transferring out of Stanford. For many students, rising to the absolute top means being consumed by the system. I have seen my peers sacrifice health, relationships, exploration, activities that can't be quantified and are essential for developing souls and hearts, for grades and resume building. From a student at Yale, a friend of mine said it nicely. I might be miserable, but were I not miserable, I wouldn't be at Yale.
Isolation is a major factor. People at Yale, a former student said, do not have time for real relationships. Another told me that she didn't have friends in college until she learned to slow down a little senior year. That going out to a movie was a novel experience at that point. A recent article in Harvard Magazine described students passing their suitmates like ships in the night as they raced from one activity to another. Kids know how to network and are often good at people skills, but those are very different things from actual friendship. Romantic life is conducted in an equally utilitarian spirit. Hookups or friends with benefits to scratch the sexual itch. Pragmatic college marriages, as Rose Dodat puts it, that provide stability and enable partners to place career first. I positioned myself in college in such a way, said a University of Pennsylvania student who was recently quoted in the New York Times, that I can't have a meaningful romantic relationship because I'm too busy, and people that I'm interested in are always busy too.
Go on. Okay. But the
Compulsive.
But the compulsive overachievement of today's elite college students, the sense that they need to keep running as fast as they can, is not the only thing that keeps them from forming the deeper relationships that might relieve their
Anguish.
Something more insidious is operating too. A resistance to vulnerability, a fear of looking like the only one who isn't capable of handling the pressure. These are young people who have always succeeded at everything, in part by projecting the confidence that they always will. Now, as they get to college, the stakes are higher and the competition
fiercer.
Everybody thinks that they are the only one who's suffering, so nobody says anything. So everybody suffers. Everyone feels like a fraud. Everyone thinks that everybody else is smarter than they are.
Yeah, and that's it for today.